Hey Grace Kids!
Welcome back to Grace Kids Read!
Great to see you today! Have you ever wanted to tell someone about Jesus, but it was just so hard to do? Well, in today's story, we're going to learn about how Paul always did what Jesus wanted him to do, and how he shared the good news about Jesus with others, even when it was really hard. It's a really encouraging story and a very important one for all of us to learn from. But before we get into today's story, let's head over to Grace Kids Trivia to see what you remember from last week's story about having a new life in Jesus.
Bye!
Question 1, true or false? After Jesus died and rose again, Paul was one of the men who didn't believe that Jesus was God. And the answer is false. Paul believed in Jesus and followed him. He would travel around telling others about the gospel, the good news about Jesus. Question 2, true or false? Paul used to post messages on his Facebook to other people in churches about how to follow and live like Jesus. And the answer is false. Although Paul did communicate with others about following and living like Jesus, he did not post these messages on Facebook. It wasn't quite invented just yet. So instead, he wrote letters. Question 3, true or false? In one of his letters, Paul wrote to tell others to be careful about how sometimes people may say things that sound good and right, but are not true. And the answer is true. Jesus came to set us free from the wrong way of living so we can live in a better way, his way. Question 4, true or false? Paul wrote that children should do what Jesus says and not what their parents say to do. And the answer is false. This was kind of a tricky one. But Paul wrote, children, obey your parents because this pleases God, and do everything for Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father. And our final question for today, question 5, true or false? When we trust in Jesus, God changes us to be like him. And the answer is true. Jesus wants us to turn away from our old way of living and live in a way that honors him.
Hey everyone, it's me, Megan, and I'm Jessie. Hey Jessie, how did your soccer game go this weekend?
It was awesome! We won!
Oh, that's great news, Jessie.
Yeah, and I got to be the goalie.
That's so cool. That's a very important position.
It is. I had to work really hard to guard the net, and the ball only got past me 2 times.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Did you know that followers of Jesus are kind of like goalies?
No. What do you mean?
Well, a goalie guards the net in a soccer game. Believers guard the gospel, the good news about Jesus, so that it continues to spread.
How do we do that?
We protect God's message by speaking the truth, believing the truth, and reminding one another of the truth. In today's Bible story, Paul guarded the gospel from teachers who were saying things that were not true. Listen to this story. Paul told people in Corinth about Jesus. Many people believed the good news, and they met together as a church. But when Paul left, he heard the people were not following Jesus like they should. They were listening to new teachers who told them things that were not true. Paul was upset, so he wrote a letter to the Corinthian church. Listen, Paul wrote, I care about you. I want you to follow Jesus and remember what he has done. The people had been tricked by the new teachers, like Eve was tricked by the snake in the Garden of Eden. Eve had believed the snake's lie, and she disobeyed God. The Christians in Corinth were believing the lies the new teachers told. Paul said, "I am not a great speaker, but I know what I am talking about." God gave Paul power to share the gospel. He shared the good news even though it was hard. Paul did not tell people about Jesus because he wanted something from them. He told them about Jesus because he loved them. Paul wrote, "I will not stop telling you this." Those teachers are sharing a message that is not true. They are trying to stop the good news about Jesus from spreading. Those teachers do not love God. Paul spoke up and told the truth. "If anyone should be listened to, it's me," he said. "I have worked hard. I have been thrown in jail and hurt. I almost died because I told people about Jesus." God had chosen Paul and changed his life. Paul did everything for God. He was not going to give up. Telling people about Jesus can be hard. There will always be some who do not want to hear the truth. God wants believers to follow Jesus and obey him, no matter what.
Hey Grace Kids! For the craft this week, we are going to make a church, and all that you need is the printout of the template of the church, a half sheet of any color construction paper, some coloring utensils, either crayons or markers or colored pencils, and some glue, either liquid glue or a glue stick would work. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. First, you're going to color the church building. Once your whole church building is colored, you're going to rip little rectangles of the construction paper to make it look like bricks. Okay, now you're going to use the bricks that you ripped and you're going to glue them onto the church to make it look like the church is built out of bricks. If you want, you can even draw a door in the front. Okay, and then you're going to glue the bricks around the door. And you can do half of the building, you can do the whole building, whatever you like. If you want to put bricks on the top, you could do that as well, but I'm going to leave mine just with the bricks on the bottom. Your church looks awesome, and we can use this craft as a reminder that the church is not just a building, but it's a group of people who love and follow Jesus, just like we heard today in our story. I hope that you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching.